My 21 male, girlfriend, 19 female, has been hanging out with my ex-homewrecker best friend almost daily. This friend of mine has been my best buddy for years, but he's just a naturally untrustworthy person, and I've seen him swoop into many people's relationships before. I've expressed to my girlfriend that I don't feel comfortable with her hanging out with him all the time, especially when I'm across the world on vacation. She's acknowledged this and said that she would stop hanging out with him as often. This hasn't changed whatsoever, and she just keeps apologizing for not at least working on it. She is good friends with this guy as well, and she has told me on multiple occasions that she only hangs out with him so much because she doesn't like going out, doing things alone, if and when I'm not around, and he always smokes her up. We've been dating for almost 2 years now and are in a serious relationship to the point where we've considered moving in with one another in the coming years. I've got a full-time job at my age, and I'm making a reasonable amount, so we take our future together in a more mature tone than some our age would. So what do I do about my current situation? I've been cheated on in the past, and along with what I have already seen my homie do, this situation is causing me such anxiety and making me overthink. I'm in a weird situation where I'm extremely confident that nothing would go down. If my girlfriend was hit on, she'd shut down the situation. Despite that, this still eats away at me each day it goes unsolved.
Are you confident?
True.
I don't know. It's hard with the friends thing in relationships because who are you to say who your partner or significant other is to or to not hang out with? I really don't like that. If someone told me not to hang out with someone that I considered a good friend, then I would have a hard time with that. But I guess if they had already talked about it at one point, right, and they are continuing to do it, I don't know. But what's the root of it all? Like, there's got to be a root of it somewhere, you know? Other than just saying, like, it's eating away at me.
Yeah. I also wonder why this OP is even friends with this person still.
Right. I was thinking your homie sounds like a scumbag.
Yeah.
Is that okay to say scumbag?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like our friends and the people we surround ourselves with, we become them. So it's important to surround yourself with positive and healthy and kind people. This person doesn't. I'm going to start doing that at some point. Just kidding. I feel like this homie of yours doesn't seem like that type of person.
Yeah.
So why would you continue hanging out with him at all? It is very hard when it comes to like, I don't want my partner hanging out with this person, because while you trust your partner, you don't trust this guy. But then it's like, do you really trust your partner? So I feel like it comes with that. Like, that's a huge part of it too. So
that's how I feel too. There's got to be a trust issue here.
Yeah.
Because if it was just like anything else, then is the issue that you feel that your partner isn't being the best version of themselves when they're around this person? Like, is that what it is? If it's not trust, if you're fully trusting of your partner to shut it down if you tried to make a move on her or whatever, you know?
Yeah. I feel like it's hard because obviously there's a difference between boundaries and ultimatums, and you don't want to tell your partner what to do. But I do think that you're not just telling your girlfriend who to hang out with and when and how often. You're giving her a reason. And I feel like if you presented the evidence to your girlfriend maybe in a different way and said, hey, just so you know I've been friends with this guy for a while. I've been really starting to see all the negative ways that he affects other friendships he's had. He broke up this couple. He convinced this person to do something shady or unhealthy or like whatever. I know that you have been hanging out with him. He is not a good person, and I don't want that to rub off on you. I do not trust him at all. I don't trust that he's going to be a good friend to you. It makes me nervous that you guys hang out alone because bad people do bad things, and I don't want you in the same room as a bad person. And I would really appreciate it if you created some distance between yourself. It's really getting to me, and I just worry about your safety, your health, our relationship any time that you're with him. And obviously I trust you, but I've seen him manipulate people before, and it would be my worst nightmare if you fell for that. And it's making me feel really scared and upset to think about him manipulating you, especially when I'm not there. Something like that.
Wow, that was amazing.
I think if my partner said that to me, I would be like, shit, you're right.
Yeah, or at least hear them out. At least a little bit, and see their point of view on it. Yeah, wow, that was great.
You think? Oh, okay.
Good shit. You sure you're not a professional? God damn, that was some great advice.
Thank you.
That was good. Yeah.
Was that good? Okay.
Yeah, I think you laid that out perfectly.
Because that's actually how what is true too. Like, of course, nobody well, I won't say nobody. Most people in a healthy relationship, they don't plan to cheat on their partner, and nobody thinks their partner that they trust is going to cheat on them. Yet people get cheated on and people cheat. And I think that sometimes people get manipulated into it. By bad people. And that could easily happen. And I don't know. I just think that you could trust someone fully, but at the same time, anyone is able to be manipulated. And that's kind of what I would be scared of too. And like, does that mean that you really don't trust them? Like, or do you not? I don't know. It's just like very human to be able to be convinced of things. Especially when your boyfriend is on vacation halfway across the world. Who knows what this guy is telling her? Like, if this is genuinely a bad person who has a history of breaking up relationships, he could tell her anything. And if you spend enough time in one room with one other person, this is how like people fall into unhealthy situations all the time. So I feel like you need to talk to her about it. And if she refuses to not stop hanging out with him, maybe that's when you're like, I constantly worry about this. And you're obviously telling me that you're going to keep hanging out with him. You're an adult. You can do whatever you want. I can't be in a relationship where I am constantly worried about my partner and who they hang out with. So at this time, like, this isn't working. And if you, and I know that is kind of an ultimatum, but it's also a boundary.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's maybe a way to make it clear how much this means to you and how much it's affecting you. And if she values hanging out with this guy more than she values your relationship, then that's information that you need to know.
Period. Yeah. No, I agree.
That's really hard though.
I agree on all counts. Yeah, it is. It's
Yeah.
a tough situation. Like I said, you know, you don't want to have these conversations with people about people that they want to hang out with, that you're
Yeah.
dating. It's borderline control, but it's not when it's affecting your own mental health too. So,
Yeah.
you know.
It is so hard when it comes to like friendships and relationships, because I feel like it happens a lot where people start dating and maybe this guy's new girlfriend doesn't like a few of his friends. And then she's like, I don't know if I like them, like the way I see them act and the way that other people act in their presence. Like, I don't really like you hanging out with them. It's so hard to tread the line of like telling someone what to do and then also having a reason for it. Because it's like really weird if you think about like partnerships in life. Like, I'll just speak on my sisters in my relationship. We're very close and I feel like we always look out for each other. And while we're not, obviously not in a romantic relationship, there have definitely been times where we have told each other like, you shouldn't be like doing that thing or hanging out with that person. The hanging out with that person happens less often. I'm trying to think of like a specific example, but let's just say my sister started hanging out with a shady person, whether she was in a relationship or not. I could see myself telling her, you should not be hanging out with that person. They're weird and not a good person and you're not safe with them, regardless of what you think. You could argue that I would be controlling. I would be telling her what to do, who to hang out with and when, and that's controlling. But at the same time, I'm looking out for her.
Right.
So it's a really hard line to walk when you're like, I trust my sister. I trust that she makes good decisions. And if someone tried to get her in a situation, she's a strong person and she could stand up for herself. But that doesn't mean I don't worry about her safety.
Yeah, and I have had friendships in the past where they did start hanging out with a different crowd, and it's one, changed them as a person, two, brought out maybe some things that were not so great about them and themselves.
Yeah.
I think that when you're surrounding yourself with people, like we said, you kind of start being like them. So you want to see people that you love surround themselves with people that bring out the best parts of them.
Yeah.
Just like you would in a partner. That's what you want, right? To bring out the best in each other.
Yeah.
If that's not happening, then I think that you saying that to a friend is being a really good friend.
I agree.
You know, and it's not always the easiest conversation to have. It's not the easiest thing to hear. It's not the easiest thing to say.
No.
But sometimes it's what's needed in these
Yeah.
situations. You know what I mean? Because like I said, I've had that, and I've like had friends grow apart because they're hanging out with the crowd that's doing things that like I necessarily don't agree with. And it's really sad, and you mourn the relationship and friendship that you had with that person. But at the same time, you could only do or say so much. At the end of the day, it's up to them to choose who they want to surround themselves with. But you need to say, you know, what you're feeling, and I feel like you're valid in being able to say what's on your mind and how you're feeling about it. And you should say it, or else you'll regret it. It's going to stew over into something else, or, you know, boil over into another part of your life or your friendship.
Yeah.
But maybe the outcome isn't always going to be exactly what you want either.
I think that's such a good point and something to keep in mind too. And it's like, if you're really being like a good friend, a good partner, and you're seeing your partner in these like weird situations, it could seem controlling for you to be voicing these feelings that you're going through, but it is important to voice them. And if it ends in a negative, like if this girl is like, don't tell me what to do, you know what, we're done. That's terrible. That's so sad. And like, if you guys are not meant to be because you had that conversation though, like that needed to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you should be telling your partner how you feel, but yeah, be prepared for a negative outcome, or just be prepared for maybe an outcome that you weren't expecting or that you didn't want.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes that's what needs to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was good.
That was good, I think.
A good little discussion. Yeah. Yeah. Reasonable. Totally get it. I don't know. It's a tough one. They're young too, weren't they? Like 21?
Yeah.